Soccer Edition. We hope you all enjoyed last week, and thank you for rejoining us this week. If you're just joining us, welcome. I am Rax, and I'm one of your hosts, and this is KP. Say hi, KP.
Hi, KP.
You're going to do that every single week, aren't you?
I think that's a thing now.
Of course it is.
Anyway.
All right, so with this week, we're going to talk about clubs in Europe. So obviously that means Champions League and Europa League. And as we're recording this, we're actually watching the Europa League final.
We are watching the Europa League final. It's halftime. Marseille are, well, they've played pretty well so far. Both teams have played pretty well. But Marseille pretty much gave Atletico their first goal with that terrible 15-yard touch by one of their center midfielders.
Yeah, that's pretty unlucky. You can't make mistakes against Atletico. So it is 1-0 at halftime. But the big news is losing Payet.
Yeah, Dimitri Payet might be out of the World Cup. Hamstring injury. He was in tears. Did not look happy about it at all. He went out in the 30th minute, and does that remind you of a certain Euro 2016 final when Dimitri Payet may have injured the best player in the world?
Yeah, but I guess karma, but that's still really just shit luck. We've seen a lot of players this past few weeks and months that are really in their last games have gotten injured and aren't going to be at the World Cup. We saw Dani Alves get hurt in the final for PSG, and Koscielny, now Payet. These are not just small guys. These are big names that are going to end up missing the club. Going to be missed for their teams in the World Cup.
I think maybe it's a boon for the French selectors because they have less choice now.
There is one thing. France definitely has enough players to fill that spot, but that is a huge blow. To not just France, but Marseille here as they try to come back and against Atletico, who we both know are just very good defensively.
And just Atletico's, one of those teams, once it's 1-0, like, it's very hard to get back into a game with Atletico
With
Madrid.
A team like Marseille, they're going to have to come back into this game and really put on pressure on Atletico, and Atletico is just so good in the counter that
it's true.
It's going to open this game up so much. We're going to see Atletico really pour it on. This could end up being a 2-3 goal game for Atletico.
I think Atletico could really put the pressure on now that they know Marseille needs a goal. And Atletico are just going to play on the counter as they do as soon as they take the 1-0 lead. Atletico is one of those teams. Simeone is one of those managers who is absolutely okay with winning 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. And
he does not care about another goal. But what about the first opportunity in the 3rd minute for Germain?
That was huge. Marseille losing that, just not scoring on that on a really of a blunder of a shot.
Yeah.
You cannot make mistakes against Atletico. That's what the mistake we're looking at the replay right now led to that Atletico goal. And against Atletico, if you're not finishing, you are going to lose.
Oh, absolutely, because you're not going to get a lot of chances.
We saw this against Arsenal. Arsenal did play great in both legs against Atletico, but what they come down to were mistakes by Arsenal that Atletico were able to capitalize, and after that, just play their game.
Yeah.
They want you to try to come at them and be aggressive because they play so well defensively and they can just counter you.
Yeah, no, they always will. There was a touching scene in the game where when Payet got injured and Griezmann ran to him to give him a kiss and give him a hug and just, tell him it's going to be okay. But might not be, man. 6 weeks. He won't be fit again till, halfway through the World Cup now. Yeah. So Payet is definitely out. But what do you think is going to happen in the second half of this game?
I think we've been talking about it now. I think we're going to see Atletico play their game. We're going to see them play very defensively. They're going to be very strong in the box, where Marseille is going to have a lot of trouble getting balls into the box. And if they do get a good cross in, it's going to be defended very well. You're going to see Godin up there. You're going to see guys like that, just play perfect defense. And one hit back up the field to Diego Costa and Griezmann and off to the races.
One hit back up the field or Diego Costa hitting someone and getting a straight red card.
Yeah, exactly. That could also definitely happen.
My key player, I don't know, I haven't really watched this guy before a lot, but Ocampos he's really left a mark on me in that first half. He just seems to be playing really good football, and he might be a key player for Marseille if they do get back into this game. Now without Payet, he's going to have to take responsibility. I don't know who they're going to bring on, and it was Anguissa. I think Anguissa was the guy who gave that ball away in midfield, and just a horrible touch, man. That's just so unlucky. And, they were trying to play it out from the back, and it just didn't work this time. But let's talk a little bit about how Marseille and Atletico got to where they are now.
Yeah, definitely. I think, surprisingly or not, I mean, Marseille has played well, but Marseille in the final after playing a playoff into getting into Europa, and you don't really see that in Europe where teams have to play a playoff just to get into the tournament and then continue to do well. You know, both teams, very different ways of getting in, you know, very stark contrast in the finals. Atletico joined in late after being eliminated from Champions League in the group stage.
Yeah.
I think before all of this happened, I would have pegged Atletico to be one of the favorites to make it to the final of Champions League. But here they are after not getting through the first round.
That was a very, very hard group, though, for Atletico.
Yeah, it was, but for a team like Atletico right now, like they're second in the La Liga.
Yeah.
We've seen them play very well this season.
Yeah.
But Champions League, for some reason, they didn't have it. They didn't have it at the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, when you're in one of those groups, which it was a group of death.
Yes.
I mean, Chelsea, Roma, Atletico. The moment you put these three teams in the group, no matter who gets knocked out, it's going to be an upset. You know, it's going to be a disappointment. It's going to be because these teams usually expect to just breeze through the group stages very easily.
And then Marseille, you know, in the group stage, they were able to beat teams like Salzburg, Bilbao, and Leipzig. Like these aren't bad teams. You know? These are good teams. Germany with the German team and the Austrian team, Salzburg and Leipzig. I think they've surprised me a little bit this year. In the past couple of years, they've been playing pretty well. I mean, Leipzig hasn't done as well domestically, but they're still a great squad. And Bilbao is always one of those teams in Spain that are always kind of there.
When do you think Red Bull's going to buy a team in England now?
If England lets that happen, I don't know. Right? Maybe it has already happened, and they're just way down there.
I know, right? Yeah, Red Bull, Man City.
Yeah, but this is I think it's a pretty big deal for Marseille. You know, I can't remember the last time they were in a final in Europe.
In the final, I mean, it's been a while. Like it was probably a UEFA Cup a while ago, man. Marseille was pretty good, but recently not so much, and. You know, that's again, it comes down to Dimitri Payet, who was their driving force.
Yeah, exactly.
They're where they are this year is because of Dimitri Payet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marseille did actually pretty well in League 1 this year too. I'm not quite sure what they finished. PSG has already won the league as usual, and I think Neymar won. But Marseille finished 4th, so I think. I don't even remember the French league. Do they have 3 Champions League qualifiers and 1 Europa League?
I believe so in League 1.
Yeah, but PSG, Neymar just won the French Player of the Year, having not played for the past 3 years. And guess who won the French Young Player of the Year? I'll give you one choice. Who do you think?
Oh, what, Mbappe?
It was Mbappe. Yeah.
So you have 2 Player of the Years at one team. That's gonna be tough in league.
I mean, it's hilarious.
So let's continue on. We'll talk about Atletico now. So Atletico, like we said, were eliminated after the group stage with a loss to Chelsea and draws to Roma, Karabakh, the Azerbaijani team, and Chelsea. And now this is one of those teams that doesn't have issues domestically. Like we see them playing well against teams like Barca and Real and the rest of La Liga. Even with Barca and Real. Not Barca, but Real struggling this year.
Real struggled in the league, but Champions League, they've just got strength.
Yeah, exactly. They were definitely focused on Champions League. But where did Atletico drop off in Europe? You can't really say they're losing against the competition of Champions League. They still beat the same level teams in Europe and got by, but they still beat teams like Arsenal.
English champions.
Yeah, they still beat Arsenal. They still beat Sporting. They still are able to win games. They're here in the final, but. You would have expected a team like Atletico to do better.
But then you see what Roma did.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? This was Roma's season, you know?
Yeah,
Even though, I mean, Champions League semifinal, I don't think any of us would have put Roma in our semifinal.
No, I don't. I would agree with that, especially with how weak. Not weak, but, you know, the Italian league right now, like we said last week, they're not as competitive. They lost a lot of players.
This year.
Yeah,
and I think Totti retired last year, was it?
Yeah, it was last year. And, you know, teams like Juventus are strong, but we have seen that the the Italian teams just aren't really there.
No.
But Roma
we've talked about this before. Yeah, we don't have to get back into that again. But yeah, Roma was surprising. I was very surprised by Roma. But Atletico, you know, I don't know, maybe just game to game, they just expected to get out of their group. They expected Roma. I mean, I think all of us expected Roma to be the team in the Europa League right now. But Roma just, you know, they pulled another gear. They had some great players.
Yeah, exactly. And
lost in the semifinal.
And I think part of it comes down to just Atletico, like we said, they're very strong defensively. It's the polar opposite of Liverpool. They don't score a lot of goals, even though guys like Griezmann, one of the best players in the world, Diego Costa, who is just a menace out there. And they have a great team with Koke and Correa and all these players. They are a phenomenal team. It's just surprising that I understand that Diego Simeone is a defensive type coach, but you kind of expect a team like this to be able to score more than they do.
Yeah, no.
You kind of expect Griezmann.
The draws to Qarabağ was just
exactly
incredible.
The Azerbaijani team, a playoff team getting in there, and a team like Atletico not being able to really
and I think
dominate.
It might have been like their first time in the Champions League, or barely ever been in the Champions League before. Like, just incredible. Like their story was great too, but they got a draw to Atletico that's going to be in their history forever. We drew with Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, like a small team like that playing against a big team, being able to get some kind of result is huge for both. Like Atletico should be able to beat a team like that. Qarabağ shouldn't be able to do that, but here they did it. We've seen teams like Ludogorets play year in and year out in Champions League and just getting trashed on by teams like Arsenal and other teams, and they go in with a -20 deficit, difference, something like that. But we talked about it a little bit last week that leagues are getting a little bit more competitive.
They are.
And I think you're seeing it in Europa that, these are all very evenly matched teams.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. There's some surprises in there. Arsenal was in there. Dortmund was in there. Napoli, Lazio. You had a lot of teams in there this year. There were a lot of surprises. Salzburg, Leipzig, Bilbao, even Ajax getting eliminated from Europa.
Yeah.
And even though this might have not been one of Ajax's storied seasons.
No.
But Ajax is not a team that you can just sleep
on.
No,
I mean, they were finalists last year.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
lost United. I remember that. Watched that game.
Yeah, and I think besides Arsenal, Atletico, let's talk about some of the other teams that are from Champions League that oddly struggled in Europa. Napoli, Lyon, Dortmund. A lot of these teams seem to have their issues in Europe.
Top of the Serie A forever.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
year.
Napoli is not a bad team at all. Their attacking front three is incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know, Dortmund too.
Yeah, it seemed like this year was a year where the big teams struggled.
It was a strange year. I mean, just the fact that Liverpool is now in the Champions League final is really something like no one would have expected either. This was Liverpool's first year back in the Champions League for a while, and funnily enough, they got knocked out by Madrid the last time they were in the Champions League, and it was not close. It was not close at all.
Yeah, like last we talked a lot about how the Premier League was more competitive.
Yeah.
Quote unquote more competitive than a lot of the other leagues, and but many leagues were starting to get more competitive domestically, minus a few giants.
Yeah.
And is this a product of that? Do you think in Europa at least, there are a lot of teams that are all very evenly matched?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about some of the other leagues getting better.
Yeah.
Is this finally where we're going to see some of the other nations
get
more Champions League, get further in Champions League?
Get further in Champions League, and we might see something like that, and we will talk more about this in the future in this World Cup, because a lot of teams that would usually not be teams, you would think twice about in a World Cup, because I mean, when you think about it, like ever since we've been watching the World Cup, 2002, 2006, 2002 was the first one I remember, 2002, 2006, 2010, 2014, like these minnow teams just are there to fill up spots usually,
Right.
They're just there because, we need these teams from Asia, we need these teams from Africa. But I think this year is going to be one of those years where these teams will make a difference, and maybe I give a little bit of that credit to just social media, weirdly. Because social media and the world getting closer gives the same access of training to these smaller countries that back then was only available in Europe.
Right, exactly.
I think that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
this training, no one could get that back then.
Right. Games are also a lot more accessible to people,
Exactly. Everyone can watch soccer now. Or watch football now. Everyone can watch their favorite players. Everyone can watch these. Like back then, in say 2006, who got to watch, tapes of this certain player doing what he does in a game? Now everyone has access to what Ronaldo does in a game. Any person in the internet can just search YouTube analysis Cristiano Ronaldo runs,
right?
And then they can just learn that.
It's not even just games too. You see teams like Manchester City, Bayern. They all have very strong YouTube channels. You can see teams train now.
Oh yeah, you can just watch their training. You can see what they do, and then you can just emulate that, and that helps these smaller countries a lot because back then they would have had no way of knowing what these big teams do to get where they are.
Right, exactly, and it's just like we were saying with. I mean, it's not just soccer, but social media in general. The growth, it's globalization.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Now you have teams that can watch from around the world whatever they want to watch.
Yeah.
You see the big boom of soccer in the U.S. now, people actually care about their players like Pulisic playing in Germany, Bobby Wood, guys like that. We actually can see the growth of these players, and now we know more about Americans playing in Europe.
Yeah.
And guys in Europe can see American games and back and forth.
It isn't like, like when Landon Donovan signed for Bayern, it was a big deal and all, but he never did anything for them.
Right, exactly. I mean, Alexi Lalas at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Alexi Lalas was invited to train at Arsenal.
Was at Arsenal?
Yeah, he was invited to train at Arsenal, and after like 2 days, they cut him because then they said, you're not good enough for the Premier League. And it's, back then, like you just said, did you know Alexi Lalas was there? No. How would you have known that? And now, though, you know about Matt Miazga playing in the Netherlands.
Absolutely. Miazga, I mean, Jeff Cameron has been a stalwart at Stoke. I thought he was English for the longest time.
Yeah, exactly. You see a lot of these players.
I saw Jeff Cameron for so long at Stoke City that I just assumed that he was one of the English guys, and then one day I was like, oh, dude's American. That's amazing for American soccer that they have players of that caliber who are starters at these middle-level teams, and Atletico might score. Oh, that was a good tackle.
Yeah, we are back.
Yeah, we are
back watching this game, so we will update you on what's going on in the game. But we are getting a little sidetracked going off of this. So with this, we're going to take a short break, take a little break, and come back to you with Champions League after that.
Okay.
During this break, too, we're also going to talk about one of our sponsors.
Our only sponsor.
Our only sponsor.
For now.
Unless Barrett over there decides to sponsor us.
Speaker Entertainment, Soul Art, some up-and-coming Tucson
businesses. We'll still plug you, Barrett.
Yeah.
But we are here at Espresso Art Cafe like we were last week, and we again thank Danny for letting us use this space and just being so great to us. We are located in Tucson, Arizona. It's a nice little cafe, bar, and hookah lounge on University, right outside the University of Arizona. So if you are in Tucson, you can always come check out this place, grab a drink, grab some coffee. Basically, whatever you need is here. So we do thank Danny for allowing us to use this space to record our podcast.
And after that, if you like art, and Griezmann just scored again. It is 2-0 in the 49th minute for Atletico Madrid. This game is over.
I like that we were taking a break and talking about our sponsor, and Atletico, of course, scores.
Atletico just scored. That was a great goal.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, and we're back from our little break and our sponsor stuff. Atletico Madrid did just score, so it is 2-0 in the 50th minute. But while we're watching the Europa League final, let's talk about the big one this weekend, which is the Champions League final. Champions League is this Saturday, the final in Kiev, Real Madrid versus Liverpool. So let's talk about first how the teams got here, starting with Real. Real came second in their group behind Tottenham, but then really didn't have the easiest time. Maybe not the hardest time, but they didn't struggle. It wasn't easy for them.
It was just Madrid kind of lugging along to their 4th Champions League final in 5 years.
Right, exactly. I mean, the first game, we thought a big game. Real versus PSG. Real ended up winning that 5-2 on aggregate. A lot of people would have said that we all thought, that game would have been a little bit closer, just with PSG's offensive strength. You saw Neymar, Cavani, all these great players.
Neymar got injured, though.
Right, exactly. But then again, is this the Ligue 1 struggle? PSG with all of their money, Mbappe, all these players, they still can't get past the first elimination round after the group stage.
No, they can't. And when they play these big teams, they just always seem to fall short. Whether it's beating Barcelona 4-0 and then,
giving it up.
Losing 6-1. I mean, big teams should not be losing 6-1. And more so, not losing 6-1, you shouldn't be giving up 4-goal advantages. Like, that had never happened before.
Right, exactly.
In Champions League history.
But it is Barcelona.
It is Barcelona, but I think that if you put your mind to it, I don't think any team should ever concede 6 goals when they're that good.
Right.
You're winning 4-0, you can lose 3-0 and you still go through. Play some defense, play some offense, score a goal,
do something.
They went into that game, PSG, you watched it, and they were just sitting there, and they just let Barcelona attack them. And they're not an Atletico Madrid, they're not a Chelsea, even Chelsea, because Chelsea is one of those teams that you can be as good as you want to be. Chelsea could grind out a 1-0 win against you. I mean, Mourinho instilled that in them all those years ago, and they still have that, instilled in them, where Chelsea will win these games sometimes. That doesn't matter. Atletico is one of those teams. Madrid is one of those teams. You see Madrid sometimes against Barcelona, they hang out. They just wait. They don't let Barcelona play their game. PSG over here just let Barcelona have the ball, didn't really press them. And then when you do that, Barcelona's going to hurt you.
Right, exactly. And I think that's a big problem for PSG, PSG's supposed to be one of these big clubs that spend a lot of money like Bayern and Real and Barcelona, and there are no results to show for it, besides them winning Ligue 1, the French Cup or whatever. But
they lost it last year.
Those leagues are.
They lost it last year. Monaco won Ligue 1 last year.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at this year, PSG, I'm looking up the stats right now,
They did spend like 300 million.
Exactly. A team that's spending 300 million should not have as hard of a time in Europe. These are teams that they should be playing well against. This is a team that you would expect them to do something like Liverpool and just dominate.
Yeah.
But they don't.
No, they definitely don't. I mean, it's just one of those things when you play in a less competitive league, you just don't get to play that great competition day in and day out.
Yeah. I mean, they had good results. 5-0 to Celtic, but 3-0 to Bayern. They beat Bayern 3-0, then they lost to Bayern 3-1.
Yeah.
And then in the first round, they lose to Real Madrid 3-1 and 2-1. I know it's Real. I know Real's in the final. But they should be putting up a better fight. If they can do that, if they can go up 3-0 to Bayern.
I mean, they can.
Maybe at home,
but they're good enough. So I just had a humbling experience. My key player for Marseille, Ocampos, just got taken off for Clinton and Gia. So Marseille just made a substitution. It's an attacking substitution, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, they need to get out there. They need to really force the play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only going to get worse.
It really is. And continuing on with Real Madrid, we're going to look at their matches right now. Their group stage was tough. It
was.
With Tottenham and Dortmund, but they handled Dortmund pretty well. They beat them 3-1, then they beat them 3-2 again, and then they tied with Tottenham 1-1. And
did they lose to Tottenham?
Yeah, they also lost to Tottenham 3-1.
They lost 3-1
at Wembley.
Yeah.
But that's pretty standard. Win
That's
one away
standard.
or win at home, lose away, kind of thing.
And
in Champions League, we see that a lot.
And I mean, that was when Harry Kane. I mean, he trailed off a little. Harry Kane is one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, he is.
If you give him a couple of opportunities, it doesn't matter if you're Real Madrid. He's gonna take those opportunities.
Right, exactly. And I think the biggest thing for Real this year in Champions League is that the consistency of play.
Yeah.
They're incredibly consistent. Defensively, offensively, they're able to
in the Champions League, they just win. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Even Bayern, I'd say that game was a little easier. The Juve game though was the tricky one because that penalty, it was a soft penalty. The game was gonna go to extra time. It was 3-0, 3-0. Bayern, in the Bayern game, they have no one to blame but themselves. Sven Ulrich, that goal was just something that you don't see except it's at the park with your mates,
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you don't see professional goalkeepers shouldn't be doing that, forgetting that you can handle a ball that is passed to you by your teammate and then going for it with your hands and then slipping and trying to kick it. Just grab it with your hands, man.
Yeah.
Give them an indirect free kick, It's better than what happened.
Right. And Bayern, let's talk about Bayern right now. We, again, like PSG, Bayern's one of those teams spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
They did struggle this year, though. They really did struggle this year. And was that, though, to not having Neuer? Was that it?
Yeah.
Was that really? So. Is that Neuer made that much of a difference for them?
I'd say Neuer would make a difference just for any club in the world. I feel like there are probably two goalkeepers in the world right now who can do that to a team, and that's Neuer and De Gea.
Right.
And when you have a goalkeeper like Neuer or De Gea, Bayern didn't really have to worry about a lot of things, someone plays a ball over the top, Neuer will come get it.
Right. He is that quintessential, just that sweeper keeper.
The sweeper keeper, yeah.
He knows how to play defense. He's got great handling, actually. For a keeper, especially. He could easily play midfield.
Oh, yeah. And, he has great ball handling, and he has great, handling as a goalkeeper, too. You see him catch these shots that are hit at, these shots that any other keeper would parry. You see Neuer, catch them midair. And then just, mock the attackers. I've seen Neuer mock so many attackers. They give their best shot, they do their best, hit it as hard as they can, and you just see Neuer's catch these easily.
Right. But even with the injury to Neuer, let's look at their squad.
They had a lot of injuries.
They did have definitely they were hampered by injuries this year, but still a team with Hummels, Javi Martinez, Rafinha, Bernat, Boateng, Sebastian Rudy. That's a great defense. That's going to make up the majority of Germany's national team's defense for the World Cup.
Absolutely. No,
defensively, they should be a lot better. I mean, they're you look at their games, 3-0 to Anderlecht.
We forget one big difference between Bayern this year and the Bayerns of the past. There was no Philipp Lahm this year.
Right, no
Philipp Lahm retired last year. And Philipp Lahm, is one of those once-in-a-generation players,
Yeah.
World Cup winner, won multiple Champions Leagues, more Bundesligas than he can't even fit on both his hands. So many cups. Just one of the classiest defenders, not a dirty player. Lahm was just one of those.
Yeah, he's a non-hated player. No one can hate the player like Lahm. Everyone looks up to Lahm, even players on his own team.
Absolutely, and him leaving this year just makes a huge difference. Which reminds me, Michael Carrick retired.
Oh yeah,
Michael Carrick retired. I was watching his testimonial. He was giving his speech and all, and for the amount Michael Carrick, you kind of forget about him in a big team because he's one of those players. He's one of those holding midfielders, doesn't come forward a lot, just keeps the team ticking. But 1 Champions League, 1 Europa League, 2 League Cup titles, 5 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup. That's I feel like he'd be okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be proud retiring with that record.
Definitely. And let's continue moving on. We'll talk some other teams that play. We'll leave Liverpool for last.
Okay.
Let's talk about big teams. Barcelona
this year.
Didn't walk through the group stages, but handled it very well. 3-0 beating Juventus, 3-1 Olympiacos, 1-0 Sporting, and so on and so forth. Beating Chelsea, 4-1 on aggregate.
Oh yeah, that was easy.
But then the big story, losing to Roma.
That was incredible. I remember I watched. I only watched half of the first game, but I watched the second one the whole game because I was rooting for a Roma comeback. Because who doesn't love to root against Barcelona? And, it happened. And the one crazy thing about that Barcelona win, too, the 4-1, there were 2 own goals in that.
Right, yeah.
2 own goals. And, Roma made it very hard for themselves, as they did against Liverpool. But, yeah, Barcelona, I don't know what that was.
I don't think... Barca, I don't think is one of those teams this year where we could talk about them having faults and this, that, and the other. They did go undefeated until the final game.
Yeah.
In league, they did great. They just that one game where they weren't there for one game.
What a final game!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a great game. It was a phenomenal.
Did you watch that game?
We were watching it together.
The 5-4. Yeah, the 5-4 Levante. Where did that? I don't know where that came from. That was just one of those once in a lifetime games for Levante. Barca was 5-1 down at one point.
Yeah.
And I feel like just because of the undefeated season, they were like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
One more win, and then Levante just came out and they were like, no, you're not done.
Yeah, it's one of those games where in football especially, you can't just sit back.
They checked out.
You can't check out in a game. It's a brutal sport. You're going
to get
out.
There was no Messi, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get punched in the mouth. That's all it is. In football, you're gonna get punched in the mouth.
And they made a comeback. It was I think they got it to 5-4, but still, shouldn't be 5-1 down to Levante. I think that's the first time Levante ever scored 5 goals in the La Liga.
Yeah. Let's continue on with another team. Let's go to Man City. Before the season started, a lot of people thought Man City had a chance of winning it this year with Pep, all these great players, and they did great. They did. They played phenomenally throughout the league and did very well, but dropped 5-1 to Liverpool in that quarterfinal match.
I called that, by the way. Remember before the game started?
Yeah, you did.
It's this disease I call. It's called Guardiolaitis. It's when Guardiola's teams win the league too early, and then they forget that you still have to play good soccer to actually make it in a cup. Mm-hmm. And this happens to this. This is not the first time this has happened to a Guardiola team. It's happened to his Bayerns before. It's happened to his Barcelonas before, because he just has this system of winning the league very easily, but then just can't get a lot of times doesn't win the Champions League.
Yeah, do you think it was just that, or do you think maybe there's something else going on in Man City?
Something else going on in Man City? They have too much goddamn money.
That they do. They're definitely gonna end up spending more this summer to try and guarantee themselves a Champions League next final. But
they do that every year.
They do. But do you think that'll work next year?
No.
Yeah. I don't know if I can see Man City
ever winning the Champions League.
Yeah, maybe definitely not next year. I think you're going to see teams like Real and Barca step their game up again. Atletico's definitely going to step up. Juventus, you're going to see them step up, and Bayern, you're going to see step up. And Man City, they're going to continue doing what they do. And
maybe win the league again.
Yeah, maybe they'll win the league again, but in Champions League,
United is my favorite
League
league, though.
Champions League
United is my favorite.
Well, they're your favorite team, so yeah, of course. Arsenal's gonna win the league next year.
Okay, that's just delusional.
But Man City, I think they're gonna keep doing the same thing. It's kind of like Tottenham. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. Arsenal does the same thing. They're gonna keep doing what they do, and until they change,
they're gonna be stuck where they are.
Yeah, exactly. It happened to PSG. It's happening to Man City. It happened to Arsenal. It happens to all these teams. And, maybe it's a coaching change. Maybe it's not a coaching change. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they need another big name player, but a name, not a flash player. Maybe they need like a Khedira or a Lam kind of player.
They have. I've been saying this for 10 years. Arsenal has needed that player since I can remember. And, someone like Matic would have been perfect for Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal would have done even better than United if they would have signed Matic.
Right. And you see a lot of teams that they don't have these kind of players, especially like Man City,
Yeah.
Fernandinho was supposed to be that guy, Torre. But these are guys that don't play much because of injuries.
Yeah, and Torre was never that holding player, though. Torre likes to attack too much. You need a Busquets, and those players are just rare. You just don't have those players that much anymore. But let's talk about something like Man City. Let's talk about something that might be very important in world football right now. Who is Arsenal's next manager?
There have been a lot of rumors there.
20 years, was it?
Yeah, 22. 22 years with Arsene. And, there were a lot of rumors. Their big name was first Tuchel from Dortmund. But he just signed with PSG.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're thinking that he'll take that next step. Maybe they'll get past the first elimination round. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know what he'll do with all that money because he's one of those guys that likes to build from youth. So we'll see what he ends up doing at PSG. But with Arsene, or with Arsenal, who's out there? Ancelotti has said that he doesn't want the job.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique is interested in the job, but executives don't want to meet his demands.
Sure, and Luis Enrique can demand whatever he wants.
Right, exactly.
Glittering player career, glittering Champions League. Won a Champions League. Yeah, they won a Champions League with Enrique. Yeah.
And then the next big one after that, maybe
Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta. After the last 2 years now with Pep Guardiola, it could be interesting. He doesn't have any head coaching experience, but you're gonna learn a lot under Pep Guardiola.
And Mikel and Pep other guy who had no coaching experience before he became a coach, Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, of course, Zinedine Zidane.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did okay.
He did okay. He might win his, I think it's his third Champions League, third or fourth.
Yeah, exactly.
Third or fourth Champions League.
Yeah, and right now, Mikel Arteta is looking like the next guy just because he knows Arsenal. He knows the executives. He knows the team.
And he's played for them.
He's played for them. He's a good one. It's a good fan favorite, I would say.
Oh yeah.
But would having a guy like Mikel Arteta be a good move for Arsenal?
I feel like he's gonna be another Arsene. They probably have a similar style of management. I'd say.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But do you think Arteta would bring a style like Pep after coaching underneath Pep?
Absolutely. That is what usually happens. When you learn under someone, you usually take their style to the next team, which makes Mourinho one of the strangest ones, because Mourinho coached under Bobby Robson. I think it was just translator, and that was a complete, that passing style, blah blah blah. And Mourinho just decided, you know what? No, I'm gonna go the complete other way, and I'm gonna learn how to counter your passing style. But I don't know. There are not a lot of options.
Yeah, there are not a lot of options right now, especially, a lot of movement happening in coaches with Ancelotti. He's probably going to make a move somewhere. Pep probably staying put, Mourinho probably staying put, but you see a lot of teams looking for new coaches.
What will be interesting, though, is once the World Cup is over, some of the international coaches may be out of jobs.
Yeah, I could see Joachim Löw leaving, especially win or lose the World Cup. I could see him leaving. Löw has been at Germany for 2 World Cups now?
2 World Cups, yeah. I think he may have been there since the 2008 Euro.
Yeah, and you have France's coach, whose name is escaping.
Deschamps.
Yeah, Deschamps. There were already talks of Arsene going to France. That's it's a little late to make a change for the World Cup, but he could still end up there as an assistant or something to help them win a World Cup, help them push them forward.
I mean, that'll be if Arsene moves there. Or goes there for the month. France, I mean, they're already most people's favorites. They might just become bigger favorites after that. Just because Arsene, I mean, when he has those players at his disposal, he can do a lot of things. Yeah. Griezmann's on the attack again. Oh, that was a swipe. Oh, Luis Gustavo just swiped at Griezmann. That's a yellow card. That's a yellow card. That was just look at that. Look at that tackle. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that is no ball. That is no ball.
That should be a yellow card. And that's definitely a yellow card. Is Luis Gustavo already on a yellow card?
He might be.
Okay, that's probably why he didn't.
No yellow card though. Nothing.
Well, yeah, if they didn't, I think he's on a yellow card, so there's no reason.
I mean,
it's not enough to get him in the red, I think.
Yeah. No, he's not actually.
Oh, he's not. Yeah, I wish I would have given that a yellow card.
Yeah.
It's an attacking position.
I mean, that was just a dirty foul. I mean, the ball was, didn't really go for the ball. I don't know what that was. I like those kinds of tackles, but they're not good tackles.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about your team, Man United.
In the Champions League.
What did you think? Before anything, what did you think? What did you think it was like?
It was just what you get from a Mourinho team. You're not gonna play the best soccer in the world, but like that loss to Sevilla was just I don't know. That loss to Sevilla just wasn't. We just didn't do anything. You know what I mean? I think it was. What was the loss? Was 0-0-2-0?
Yeah, 0-0-2-1.
0-0-2-1, and Sevilla won both, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was just one of those where we just didn't. It was just like when it almost reminded me of the Van Gaal days. Like I'm almost lost for words because I remember watching both those games, and you just felt like there was no attacking threat. Sevilla absolutely dominated us.
Yeah, but I mean, before that, Man United did really well in the group stages. They only dropped one game. They dropped 1-0 to Basel at Basel.
No, that was after we'd qualified already.
Yeah,
though.
Exactly.
It was we got 5 wins before that.
Beating them 3-0, beating Moscow 4-1, Benfica 1-0, which I thought Benfica was going to do a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that was a completely different team against I remember that game. No, Mourinho just rested everyone because, he just gave everyone else a chance. We already had 15 points.
Yeah, besides that, if you toss that game out, they were undefeated in the group stage.
We were, yeah. And even that one loss, I don't really care for that loss that much just because it was, we were looking really good. We maintained second in the league all year. The only two positions United was in the league this year was first and second. We were first till 6 games, and then we were second for the other 32.
Right.
And so I think it was a great season. FA Cup final coming up. I'm pretty excited about that. We're playing Chelsea. We've talked about that before, but yeah, United in the Champions League. It was just weird.
I mean, you look at that game against Sevilla where they lost. It was 2-1. They had 17 total attempts. 4 of them were on target.
Yeah, that was the second one.
That was the second game. The first game was 0-0.
Yeah, 2-0.
That was 0-0.
0-0?
It was 0-0. Yeah, Sevilla won it 2-1 on aggregate.
Oh, 2-1 on aggregate. Oh, you're right. It was 0-0. It was 0-0. But, Sevilla dominated that game, too. We just sat back. We did our thing. The same thing we did against West Ham. West Ham was 0-0 as well.
Right, exactly. But, I mean, looking at possession-wise, it was pretty even. 51-49% to Man United. It was a pretty even game. You're looking at 519 passes for Man U, 492 for Sevilla, and distance covered of 106 kilometers versus that 110 of Sevilla. It seemed on paper it was a pretty evenly matched game, but those 4 on target versus 8 off, you have to put more shots on frame.
Yeah, it was just, but even those 17 shots, I think Sevilla had more.
Oh yeah, they had 21 shots.
Yeah,
they had 21 shots.
Sevilla dominated that game. It may look like, because Mourinho teams, sometimes we had a lot of shots, but a lot of those weren't they weren't really goal-scoring opportunities. They were on-target shots from Pogba from distance, on-target shots from Valencia.
Yeah, and five of those shots were blocked.
Yeah.
4 on target, 8 off target, 5 blocked.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good numbers, but for a team like Man United with their attacking prowess, you would expect them to do more.
But that's been the whole year with Man United. It's that there's that attacking prowess. Everyone keeps saying that, and then sometimes there's just no attacking prowess.
Yeah.
They don't do anything some games.
You've said it before, is that Mourinho style, but when does Mourinho change? Mourinho needs to do something else besides win 1-0 and be second in the league and get eliminated Champions League, because Mourinho in the past has dominated.
Oh yeah, till Guardiola just broke all these records, the goal scoring records and stuff. Who had the highest goal scoring record before that? It was a Chelsea Mourinho team.
Right, exactly.
It was the Mourinho's first season at Chelsea. He broke records for points, goals scored, and goals conceded. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they conceded 19 goals that season. 19 goals. Like, that is just something from a different planet. And I don't know. We'll see if we win the FA Cup. Again, it's going to be like last year. It's like, it was a pretty good season. And definitely, like, I don't think we should fire him, like, under any means.
No, I don't think he'll get sacked, but I think he has to be doing better. I think he has to be doing better.
Like, what is better? Win the league once?
Yeah, win the league, get closer to the final in the Champions League. Honestly, it's almost like Arsenal. You're not doing enough to win.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially for a big name like Mourinho, who spent.
Yeah, but being in that position before as an Arsenal fan, you're not like unhappy with it. You're just not very happy with it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always want to be doing better until your team is doing what you think they should be.
The best. Yeah, and like both our teams, like Arsenal and Man United, we've seen them be world beaters before, And so when they're not, like nowadays, like if that happened to United against Sevilla, I do not know what would have happened against a bigger team. But you know what? There's a chance, like this Man United team is so strange, they might have played better if it was a bigger team.
Yeah, maybe they are just playing down to their opponents.
It's just I feel like sometimes we have messed up so much against the smaller teams, and our record against the big teams. I'm surprised we're even second place because we have one of the worst records against the top 6, and we've a lot of draws, but somehow we've just like labored on, and it's been the most weird second place finish I've ever seen. Luis Gustavo just got a yellow card for another cynical foul.
Finally, he should be getting a yellow card. It should be maybe his second. Who knows? But let's continue. We'll talk about Juventus. A team that's been very, very good in Champions League the last couple of years. Made it to a final. Made it to 2 finals. But
and then
this year,
lost to the Clásico.
Yeah, exactly. But then you look at this year. 3-0 to Barca. They lost 3-0 to Barca. Okay, they beat Olympiacos 2-0. But then they draw 1-1 with Sporting. They draw 0-0 with Barca. 2-2 to Tottenham.
Barely made it. They
barely got through. Tottenham was Tottenham.
Tottenham was Tottenham, yeah.
And then, so Juve went on 3-4. But then they just got absolutely demolished. I would say demolished by Real.
But then they demolished Real right after that.
Right. Which is that whole Real thing right now. They're consistent, but then they have a one-off. Juventus is another one of those teams that you expect.
Real has been doing this for years, though. I don't. You might remember, like one of the Champions Leagues they won, they like got destroyed by Schalke, and it was like, oh, they're gonna be out. They destroy Schalke with a Ronaldo hat trick or something, and it's just that one guy he refuses to lose. In a one-off game, Ronaldo. Now, if you think about it, Ronaldo has won the last 3 tournaments he's been in. The last 3 big tournaments. No, he's won the last 3 in a row. The Euro, and then 2 Champions Leagues. The last 3 major tournaments Ronaldo has played in, he has won all of them.
Yeah, but that's the difference between Ronaldo and some other of the big name players in the world. Yeah. Ronaldo is a leader.
He just refuses to give up. He refuses to lose. He leads his team by example. He scores goals. He just, he's like the player, even now, any team would be lucky to have Ronaldo.
Yeah, not even just having Ronaldo, but having a guy just mentally like Ronaldo.
Yeah, but who is, though?
Right, exactly. You look at it, you say that Europa League final, or not Europa, sorry, the Euro League final.
Yeah.
Ronaldo was injured early on.
Yeah,
but he still captained that team. He captained and coached that team.
Diego Costa just had some tricky footwork. All right, they got it. But, yeah, he captained that team from the bench. And this is in an interview. He told Joe that Joe's going to score the winning goal.
Right, exactly.
He told Joe when Joe was coming on for him, he's like, you're going to score the winning goal in the EuroLeague final. This is not Joe. Well, Eder. Joe plays for Brazil. Joe. Oh, my God.
Let's continue keep going on with Juventus. We keep talking about Real, but with Juventus, one of those teams that aren't doing well enough.
No.
And that's just product of Italy.
Yeah, it's just Italy. Italy is just not, in my opinion, like a big enough league, and I mean not just my opinion, anyone's opinion. They're just not. The league is not at the same level as it used to be. The competition is not there, and the competition that is there isn't good enough.
Right, exactly.
So when you're playing like all these lower level Italian teams, like they would get relegated from the Premier League, like no question. I feel like some of the mid-table Italian teams would be in a relegation battle in the Premier League. Would you think so?
Yeah, I think so, because just with the competition in leagues like the Premier League, they're not... Everyone can drop a game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're playing. Everyone's going to drop a game.
Yeah. At least even in La Liga, there are 3 teams. There are 3 teams, and also there's like there are these mid-table teams that can beat you on their day.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let's continue moving on. We'll continue now with Liverpool. We talked about a lot about Liverpool last week in league, but let's talk to them in Europe. They won their group with a plus 17 goal difference, but that's not from top to bottom in the group. That's from first and second. That's ludicrous. It's ridiculous goal difference, but we just talked about them. It was against Sevilla, Spartak, and Maribor.
Yeah.
Not the hardest group, to be honest. Not the hardest group, but still plus 17.
I mean, what did they beat Sevilla?
Let's look it up right now.
I don't remember. That kind of pisses me off that Sevilla was in their group. Because we just lost to Sevilla.
Right.
Which is really not... but they look like a good team. And I don't know. Liverpool, though, their offense on its day...
It's world class.
Oh, they drew both games against Sevilla.
They drew both games with Sevilla.
Okay, so fair.
Also, Liverpool played a playoff. We were talking about this with Marseille earlier.
They did, yeah.
Liverpool played a playoff. I mean, 6-3 against Hoffenheim. Yeah,
they finished fourth last season.
So they played in a playoff. But, in their group, 2-2 with Sevilla, 1-1 with Spartak, 7-0 to Maribor, 3-0 to Maribor, 3-3 to Sevilla, and then the big one, 7-0 to Spartak.
7-0 Spartak. So they won 2 games 7-0. Mm-hmm. I mean, that kind of really skews their goal difference a little bit.
Right, but thinking after that group, you'd think Liverpool isn't one of the strongest teams in the Champions League because they didn't do that great.
I've been saying that the whole year. Every time, any big competition they've had, it's been close. The only big game that they've won comfortably was Man City and Roma, the 2 big games. But they gave them both. They let them both back in. Not Man City. Man City, they just had their number. But that's just Man City's problem, not really
Liverpool's
problem. But Roma, they almost lost that. And if you're losing a game, 7-7 on aggregate, or that's just defend a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's been Liverpool's problem is that their defense isn't as strong as some of the other teams, but that's just their offense is so good they're gonna go come and catch us.
Yeah.
I mean, in the first round of 16, they beat Porto 5-0 at Porto.
Yeah.
At Porto, which is huge, but then 0-0 to Porto at home.
Yeah.
It's one of those days. Their offense isn't clicking. They don't win.
Porto has one of the fucking goal! Oh my god!
Wasn't a goal.
Wow.
In the 80th minute, they got
Mitroglou,
close.
the Greek guy. Wow, Mitroglou just hit the post. 80th minute here, Marseille Atletico.
So it is in the 80th minute. We're getting close to the end of this game.
That was probably the best chance of the game for Marseille. Yeah. Second best chance. I gave that Germain chance. That was just a straight one-on-one. But yeah, I think Germain is off. Is he off? Yeah, Germain. They took Germain off.
Yeah. So we continue on. The next game, the semifinals against Roma, 5-2 against Roma at Liverpool, and then in Rome, 4-2. Roma were able to almost make that comeback. We were talking about it again. We were watching it here with a lot of people. Where did the game change? When Mo Salah came off the field.
Oh yeah.
When Mo Salah came off the field.
They conceded 2 goals almost immediately, almost a third. Wow, that was.
Yeah, that goal was close.
That should have been that's so unlucky. It hit the inside of the post too.
Yeah, so when we're talking about Roma and Liverpool, it's losing Mo Salah. We talked about it before. How much is Liverpool just Mo Salah?
A lot of Liverpool is just Mo Salah.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a big deal. It should have been a bigger deal in Champions League.
Yeah,
they should have dropped more games. And this is why I think if the final was at home,
yeah,
Real easily wins against Liverpool in the final.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If it was 2 games, if it was an aggregate game.
Absolutely.
But with the final only being 1 game, it's a much more even game. It's a much more even game because Salah is going to play the whole game unless he gets hurt. You're going to have the best team, the best players out there in the final.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's going to be a very close game, and but I still see Madrid coming on top. I mean, I've said this the last 3 Champions Leagues, or the last 2 Champions Leagues that Madrid has won. Before the game, I've said the same thing. I'm like, Madrid's going to win. And everyone has always said, no, they won't. And they will. They just will.
Yeah, that's the thing with Real. Those players, they know how to play a big game.
Yeah.
Those guys step up. It's not just Ronaldo. It's
It's Sergio Ramos.
It's Ramos.
It's Casemiro.
Casemiro. Yeah, exactly. Casemiro. And
it's that
Keylor
Navas, who incredible. And that big game mentality that Zidane has. Zidane didn't need to be a manager for a bunch of years to, get that winning mentality, because This is a guy who's won a Euro, a World Cup, been in 2 World Cup finals. Like,
he's a big player.
Yeah,
he's a big game player.
He scored
minus that one mistake that he made.
Oh, that was a good shot. That was a good shot. Good shot from Olavi.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you who you thought who's gonna win the final, but you just said Real. I think I gotta go with Real as well, just because of that, the way Real Madrid's players are going to carry them. You know, they're going to exploit any kinks in the armor that Liverpool have.
Absolutely.
And it could end up being 1-0, maybe a Ramos goal in the 91st minute or something like that. But
I think Liverpool's going to score.
Yeah, I definitely think Liverpool. I think Liverpool scores early. I see
Liverpool scoring first.
Yeah, definitely first. I think they score very early. But I think at the end of the day, Real Madrid is going to take that because of their big name players.
But yeah, that's definitely the most likely scenario. But this is the first time Madrid is playing. Also, like, we keep talking about how Liverpool isn't ready for Madrid. Madrid hasn't really played, except Barcelona, a team with like Liverpool's attacking caliber.
Yeah.
And Liverpool has done that to every team in the Premier League, and the Premier League has some really good teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think not enough is being said. A lot is being said about Liverpool, but at the same time, Liverpool still, you know, you have the record-breaking goal scorer in Mo Salah, Golden Boot winner in the Premier League. Where are Liverpool in the table?
You know what happened the last time someone tied the record for the Premier League goal scorer? A Premier League team won the Champions League. It was Manchester United. Ronaldo scored 31 goals, and they won the Champions League that year.
Right, but again, where are Liverpool sitting in the table? They're sitting in fourth. They're going to end up playing in a playoff again unless
Madrid
they win.
Sitting in the table?
They're sitting in third.
Yeah, that's what it is. Both these teams have not won their respect. That almost never happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Liverpool's definitely said something that they can score goals. If there's one thing they can do is they can score goals.
But I can also, like, this is an unpopular opinion. I can see a small chance if things go perfectly for Liverpool. I can see them running away with the game.
Yeah, definitely. They could easily in the first half go up 3-0
goals.
Behind,
because they can do that.
Yeah, behind Chan and Mo Salah is
Firmino, Mo Salah. That trident, Firmino, Mo Salah, and Mane. It doesn't matter how good your defense are; they're so fast.
Yeah, exactly.
They come at you so quickly.
In that scenario, if you're Real Madrid, you're down 3-0 at half. Are they going to be able to come back?
Yeah.
You think so?
They are. Real Madrid can definitely come back from that. They'd rather not be in that situation, and Atletico might score again. Oh, why didn't he pass it to Griezmann?
Yeah, he didn't have a pass for Griezmann.
He should have passed to Griezmann. That was really stupid. I mean, yeah, the game is almost over, but you want to put it away. Yeah, but this game should it's 86 minutes now, guys, and I think Marseille just had 2 of their best chances of the game and still couldn't really do anything with it. They're coming in strong. They're still coming in hard.
Yeah, definitely. They're still trying. But again,
is this a goal?
Right there. This
offside.
Is what you can't do.
Offside.
This is what you can't do in a big game, especially against a team like Atletico.
Absolute, and Gine just tried like a crazy outside of the foot shot, and it went out for a throw-in.
But yeah, let's keep talking about the Champions League final. We've talked a lot about Liverpool's offense. What about Liverpool's defense? It's a big game. They have to show up, or else Real Madrid could end up scoring early and running away with it. Do you see that Liverpool could hold on? To really fight that defense?
As long as Dejan Lovren has a good game, I think they'll be fine. He's pretty much my key player. Not in the way that he is the key player. Oh, another hit to the bad area. Dejan Lovren is the key player in the way, because if he plays well, then Liverpool's defense can be pretty good. But he is prone to terrible games.
Yeah, definitely.
Not bad games, like terrible games.
Yeah, do you see Liverpool maybe sticking Van Dijk on Ronaldo? Putting someone on Ronaldo to try and disrupt that offense.
Yeah, but then who do you put on Bale?
Right, you have Bale on the other side, and then you have Benzema as well.
And Benzema, like, as much as you want to talk about him, you give him open opportunity, he'll probably score now. He's got his confidence back. He scored like 2 or 3 goals.
He scored 2 in the last game.
2 in the last game, against Bayern. And that's what Madrid needed that so badly, because now they have all 3 strikers firing on full cylinders.
Exactly.
All 3 attackers. And then, say that's not working, Asensio comes on.
Yeah.
Say that's not working, Isco comes on. The talent they have just sitting on their bench. they need to attack more, they'll bring what's his name, the right winger on, Lucas Vasquez on. Mm-hmm. You know, and then in midfield they have Cruz, Modric, and Casemiro, which is just, like, how is that even a real team? Diego Costa is through on goal right now. Oh, they've caught up. They caught up with him, and
this should be a goal right
that's
here.
It.
And it's over.
It's it. Gabi 3-0.
Yeah.
The stalwart, the Atletico Madrid stalwart, the guy who's been on the team for years and years. This actually might be Gabi's like multiple. Like Gabi has definitely won the Europa League before.
Yeah, with Atletico. Yeah.
With Atletico, yeah. No, Gabi's been at Atletico for like as long as I can remember. Gabi has been at Atletico Madrid since 2011.
Yeah. But look at the lineup. I think the big thing besides the offense of Liverpool, it's gonna be a very strong game in the midfield.
Yeah.
It's gonna come up to guys like Henderson. You know, this sucks, but Liverpool lost Ox, and Ox could easily help them win this final. But guys like
Ox does have that big game.
Yeah, exactly.
Big game in him.
You're gonna have Henderson in the midfield. You're gonna have probably Moreno in there somewhere. Wijnaldum. These guys.
I don't think Moreno's gonna start. They've been going with the kids.
Yeah, they have. But
what's his name? Robertson.
Yeah,
and
Robertson.
Alexander Arnold.
Yeah, so these kids are gonna have to really step their game up. If Liverpool can control the midfield against guys like Isco.
The problem is that, you know, it's gonna be the mismatch comes when it's gonna be Robertson on Bale.
Yeah, Robertson
and
on Ronaldo.
Alexander Arnold on Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That's where these kids they show us, are they future Gary Nevilles?
Right.
Because, you know, Gary Neville would stop those guys back. And, you know, when Gary Neville would come out as a 21-year-older, who went on to be a legend for Manchester United, when he was there, or Carragher, these guys, even as kids, were able to stop the big guys. You know? Mm-hmm. They were able to stop the Figos. Oh, not the Figos, but I'm too young. I'm too young to remember this, but you know, whoever the big players at the time were, who they were playing in Europe in the 90s and the early 2000s, like these guys could stop them, you know. And Alexander Arnold and Robertson are both good. This is going to be their biggest test, I think.
Yeah, definitely. If they're able to do anything in the midfield, I think this is very even.
Got
game.
himself an England call-up though, Alexander Arnold. This season, like, it's been amazing for him. Got himself an England call-up. And he's 19 years old, and he's going to get the job of marking either Cristiano Ronaldo, Marco Asensio, or Gareth Bale. I mean, good luck, buddy.
It's going to be a tall order
for
him, but we've seen how good he has been this year.
Absolutely.
He definitely, at least 45 minutes, I think he can hold on.
He hasn't played these guys yet.
Right.
Who's the best player he's played? Who's the best? He's played some good teams. Who's the best one-on-one player Alexander Arnold or Andrew Robertson has played? The only one I can think of is maybe Eden Hazard. Who took him for a ride.
Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne,
sure. But, you know, I'm talking about those one-on-one with wingers. Like, Madrid has those world-class wingers that very few teams in the world have. You know, that it comes down to a one-on-one. Because even against Liverpool and stuff, you have like Leroy Sané. You have these guys, but you know, you can't compare Leroy Sané to Ronaldo. Like, Ronaldo is going to take, like, that 19-year-old kid is going to have a really, really hard time. And Robertson's like 21. This is their first big season in professional football. And now they get to defend the best team in the world. That's where Liverpool wins or loses that game. I think they have goals in them. But those kids, you know, you expect them probably not to do that well. Maybe future legends, possibly. But I don't know. This game is almost over. 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, as we wind this down, so our picks for the Champions League final, which is this Saturday in Kiev. Game is over.
Game is over. Atletico Madrid are the Europa League champions. First time since, I think, 2012.
Yeah, as this ends, we're both on Real Madrid this weekend, the game in Kiev. So we thank all of you guys for joining us this week. Another great podcast for the Bam Banter Podcast, the soccer edition. We'll see you guys all next week, every single Sunday. This will be coming around noon, maybe 1 o'clock, depends on how fast I'm actually able to edit these. But today was a pretty quiet day. So we thank you all. We're going to leave you off with that. It was a great Europa League final. We'll see you guys on Champions League Saturday as we talk about that game. I'm Maraxon and KP.
This is KP.
We'll see you guys all next week.
Hope you guys enjoyed our podcast. Yeah, see you guys next week.